Okay. And now let's hope that this time goes a little bit smoother. Alrighty, let's see now. Can I access the chat? Oh, yep. Chat is accessed. Now, alrighty then. Now, if the page will just take its sweet, we should be just fine. Alrighty. Now then, we are back. And let's see. So far, 0 viewers, but that's okay. We only did just get back on track. And this time we should be able to keep an eye on the chat.
All right.
Now then, let's talk about. Oh, we got a viewer watching. By all means, feel free to let yourself be known in chat. We got you. Can see what you're sending our way now. Now then, dear old stepdad of mine.
Yes. You don't have to put old in there, you know. Not that old.
Oh, jeez. You're going to have to get me started now already?
Yeah.
This, unfortunately, is what I have to live with.
You don't have to live. There's plenty of bridges you can live under for a troll like you. Anyways. What do you want to talk about?
Well, since the title of my video is movies, games, and stuff, why don't we talk about something like that?
Okay.
Hey, you don't have to sound overly enthusiastic. Be your natural self.
I'm just trying to humor you. I need to be working. You're laughing.
You are humoring me, unfortunately.
All right. You want to start with movies, games, or stuff? Since there's 3 categories here.
All right. Let's start with movies. Keep it consistent.
Okay.
All right. Let's talk about some movies that most people don't often talk about.
Such as
Surf Ninjas.
There's a reason most people don't talk about it. 2 words: Rob Schneider.
Why does everyone hate Rob Schneider again?
His daughter doesn't even like him.
Why?
Elle King, I don't know.
Is his humor just not that well liked?
Kinda.
I mean, I know we're living in a PC time period.
It has nothing to do with it.
Because I know in this period, people are so overly sensitive.
It's just a poor man's Adam Sandler, that's all.
He works with Adam Sandler, you know?
Yeah, and he's poor.
Oh, wow. Wow. Ouch.
Steve Buscemi worked with Adam Sandler, and he's done pretty well for himself.
But, yeah, I mean,
Surf Ninjas, you were saying?
Yeah.
Okay.
Besides Rob Schneider, why do people not like it?
I don't know. I think it was almost like trying to be a 3 Musketeers of surf movie and kind of just didn't do too well.
More like a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles of surf movies, but with humans instead of turtles.
And these guys need to go back in their shell. I just want to say that right now.
But yeah, I just see it for what it was meant to be. It was meant to be an action comedy for kids. Granted, some of the jokes were over the top and only adults could understand them.
It's in order to keep the adults awake through the movie that they had to suffer through, like I did when I took you to see Surf Ninjas.
Did we see it in theaters?
I think we did.
I don't recall. See, here's the thing. The first time I ever saw anything of Surf Ninjas was back when VHSs were the thing.
Yep.
I remember when we got Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2: Secret of the Ooze. Or was Teenage Mutant? Yeah, it was Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 3, the one that most people don't like or don't want to.
Timey-wimey flashback trip to Japan.
Yeah. But it's because of that. That's why it's my personal favorite.
It wasn't bad.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, the costumes could have been better. Animatronics could have been better. Story could have been a little bit better written. But I saw it for what it was trying to be.
Right.
For what it was attempting. But yeah, whenever we put in the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 3 excuse me, VHS video, there will always be these promos, trailers, ads, whatever, before the movie. Because of that, one of them was Surf Ninjas, the trailer for it.
Right.
I was like curious. I was like, okay, this looks interesting. And so, yeah, I wanted to see it. I remember we got it for VHS at Blockbuster, and I liked it. I enjoyed it.
It was all right as far as it went, but it didn't go that far.
Well, here's the thing. I mean, the story is very simple. You know, there are these two kids from a foreign country who are princes of a foreign country. Some evil dictator comes threatening to kill them so he can take over, but the royal family's killed, but the two kids are whisked away to modern day LA. And of course, their life is one big vacation. They're lazy. They don't like doing homework. They try to escape through it all and all that.
I can see how you'd relate to that.
Yeah, I definitely relate to
I
that.
can see that now.
Yeah. And yeah, they're friends with Rob Schneider's character, who's supposed to be a teenager, but he's
40. He was 40 when they made the movie. He barely passed for a teenager.
Was he 40 or was he 30?
He looked 40.
Oh, wow. But yeah, I mean, yeah, he was definitely the character was definitely full of himself. He was like, the moment he found out they were princes, he was like, I'm the real king. They're just my decoys. You know, he was special when he wasn't.
Right.
But he did introduce the concept of the what if superpower. Like, what if the outcome of this fight? And of course, the heroes did win. Right. So yeah, but I'm getting a little ahead of myself. But yeah, I mean, they lived their lives not knowing the truth about their princes of another nation. So they're still trying to live irresponsibly. But of course, their adopted dad gets kidnapped by the remnants of the dictator, and because of that, they are basically forced to start taking more responsibility and take this more seriously. And but of course, while they're going a bit irresponsible, cracking jokes, making fun of things and such. But
you hope there's a life lesson in there somewhere.
Yeah. But but when they get to Patusan, the fictional nation where they're the princes of, they do see the devastation caused. I think they would be actually upset by this. But by the end, they're still making jokes and making fun of the villain and all that and all. And by the end of it all, they fulfill their destiny as they're supposed to, but then they dissolve the monarchy, give the governments to their people, not only because it's their destiny to be free, but also because they're too lazy to want to rule the nation.
Exactly.
But yeah.
It's kind of like a younger version of Seinfeld, you know, no hugging, no learning.
Yeah, maybe that's where they were kind of taking inspiration, but
right.
But I still feel like Surf Ninjas, if it had been taken a little more seriously, could have been a much better movie. Could have been like a good coming of age story, right. Like kind of like a combination of Spider-Man, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, like that.
With great surfing comes great responsibility.
And another thing, but also there is a little bit of some questionable aspects of it, like the fact that they're called Surf Ninjas, but they don't originate from Japan. They originate from Patusan, which never mind the fact that it's a fictional nation, but it's a fictional nation in the Philippines. Ninjas were originated from Japan, and they weren't Japanese. They were Patusani. So
how are you going to fit that on a trailer? Surf Patusanis? It doesn't work. Yeah. Surf Ninjas barely works. So
in some countries, I think it was promoted as Surf Warriors, which makes sense.
Right.
But yeah.
But I probably didn't want to make it a warrior movie because they didn't think they'd get enough kids there.
Yeah.
Ninjas kind of has that Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle, so I can see the connection there.
Yeah, they were exploiting the ninja term, I think, when they did that. But yeah, and there have been talks of a remake for Surf Ninjas where it's a little more serious, less lighthearted. One of them went dark, where the character of Johnny, which was played by Ernie Reyes Jr., actually becomes just as bad as the dictator, and the younger brother has to kill his older brother because, you know, he doesn't want to see him become that evil. That was, I think, a little bit of a too dark of a concept.
Now, if they really want to make it dark, they'll replace Rob Schneider role, give it a real dark touch.
But yeah, I mean, here's how I would
put the surfboards down, kids. It's time to rock and roll.
But yeah, I mean, if I were to do a remake of Surf Ninjas, I would, well, for one thing, I would actually make Rob Schneider's role the real villain. I would have it where he's this teenage slacker who's close to them, acting like he's the you know, he's the real prince and all that.
Yeah.
But then when they get to Pachyssan, Johnny, the older brother, he's about to defeat Colonel Chi, the bad guy, but then that's when he gets sucker punched from behind, and it's revealed Rob Schneider's character, Iggy, is actually the son of the dictator.
Wow.
It's sent to find the kids and infiltrate them.
I like that. It's kind of like Rob Schneider playing the Dr. Smith role in Lost in Space.
Yeah, because I mean, here's the thing. I mean, you never knew how the Colonel Chi's men found the kids after 10 years of being in hiding. So
makes sense.
So yeah, I mean, it would, and it would make sense also why he's so important when he isn't, because as the son of the villain, he believes he's going to be important once the kids are gone.
See, I can't picture Rob Schneider playing the long game. He's more of a short game, like 5 seconds long kind of game.
Still, that's how I would redo it. I would have the Rob Schneider character be a villain, and who knows, maybe I would have an well, here's the thing. As you know, I'm writing my story.
Right.
I helped make this story possible. I did have to take my main character and write some crossover fanfics, like my character in Lord of the Rings, my character in Star Wars, my character in Surf Ninjas.
Uh-huh.
I actually wrote it where my character replaces Iggy entirely. He's supposed to be the one invoking more of the serious gravitas of being responsible to these kids and all that.
Getting Iggy out of the movie, that's the first step to making people actually want to watch it.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, it helped to help me develop my character for my story, you know, and that's another thing. George R.R. Martin, the creator of Game of Thrones, he says fan fiction is not a good way to become a good writer. I say differently. You know, I created the character, but I needed to know where his limits and his characterization would lie. That's why the whole putting him in other franchises as like a new addition, way to help develop him and all that.
That's George R.R. Martin. He's a hack. He's trailing TV series. Come on, George, start writing faster, will you? Finish line is coming up close. I think April is the last season of Game of Thrones.
Second to last, I think, maybe.
I don't know. I think this might be the last one. It's only going to be like 6 episodes.
Well, even so, I mean, but yeah, back on point with Surf Ninjas. I mean, there's talks of remake, and it could be take art in a little, I mean, more serious story, but it did have moments of lightheartedness. For example, when he feared the only earlier in the film, you know, said Batman mask and Alfred asks, "What are you gonna do on the day when you find out?" And he's like, "Well, you always like to say it on that day, so I may not want to." But then, of course, things get so serious, you feel like this is going to be the end of Batman because he's exposing himself.
Uh-huh.
But then, you know, he's like,
Batman exposing himself. I
would say
it's not exactly the kind of imagery you want. What would Aunt Harriet think?
and that's another thing. Aunt Harriet back at the exchange. I have it in the 60s show. Why ever in anything else?
In the comics.
Well, I think they need her to be life besides the
Harriet. I'm not sure if she was.
mind that that's a phone call. My stepdad will get it. Is anyone important or no?
No.
All right, then just ignore it. Essentially, Aunt Harriet seems like a character you need in Batman, because you got Alfred imparting the wisdom. She can be imparting the heart, the part of Batman that is forgotten, because people think Batman's be Batman. He can't ever be Bruce Wayne. One to remind him to be a little more Bruce Wayne and before his parents' death.
Yeah, but the 60s series never got that deep into it. Aunt Harriet was always kind of doddering and stumbling around.
Understandable, understandable.
A little
but
bit.
that's how I would put Aunt Harriet in the more serious Batman stories. Because, I mean, that's the thing. He's not just Batman 24/7. He needs to be Bruce Wayne as well. He needs to remember that there is more life than just the tragedy of what happened to his parents.
It seems like he's always Batman, and Bruce Wayne is the mask he wears.
Yeah, but
not being Batman.
Yeah, but I followed more the Batman Forever version, where he's always Bruce Wayne. Batman is the mask. He just gets the two confused sometimes.
Yeah.
But yeah, back to the Dark Knight. He's like, I learned what Batman can't do. He can't endure this, and so you get to say, "I told you so." Well, I don't want to. But I did blood tell you. I suppose
Kane was awesome as hell.
was going to lock me up as well as your accomplice. I'm going to tell him the whole thing was. But yeah, I mean, that Dark Knight was a dark movie, but it needed some moments of levity like that.
Sure.
And I think a gritty remake of Surf Ninjas should be just like that. It can be serious, but it needs some original movie to help it not be so depressing and all that. But yeah, I mean, you could have the lighthearted fun. Then when they're attacked by the bad guys' forces, they need to start taking things a little more seriously. And as they are taking things more seriously, for example, you could say that Johnny does not remember losing his home nation, because that's the thing. He was like 5 years old when the attack occurred.
No.
Yet 10 years later, he doesn't remember it at all.
Sometimes you don't remember everything from when you're 5. I think.
Yeah,
before the age of 4, it's hard to remember anything.
But if it's something that serious, as like
traumatic, yeah, you would think it would mind.
Yeah, here's my theory. He forgot because he was choosing to forget. He did remember in his nightmares at night, but he was deliberately forcing himself to forget it. And then he comes back to him when, the bad guys, the plot of the movie comes along. He's forced to stop forgetting and realize it happened, and he has to confront it.
Yeah, but so he's gotta man up a bit.
Yeah, I mean, that's how I think you could tell a serious version and still maintain the lightheartedness.
Right. But no Rob Schneider, I'm just saying. Yeah,
well, if you have to have him, like I said, have it be he's this annoying side character, but then by the end he's revealed to actually be the secret bad guy.
Or if you want to grow him up, maybe cast Tom Arnold in his place. That wouldn't be bad either.
And speaking of Tom Arnold, now that we're, I think Ninja's aspect of this, you were never much of a Tom Arnold fan until you saw True Lies.
Exactly.
I mean,
Tom Arnold was just a kind of floundering stand-up comic who fell for Roseanne and ran off of her game during her show in the 80s and 90s, and he ended up marrying her, and he basically wrote up until the show ended, and he became the train wreck that he's always been. And then seeing him in True Lies with Arnold Schwarzenegger, well, this actually is funny. He just kind of needed the right vehicle to be in, and playing the comic relief to
partner
Arnold's character. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, when Arnold's character Harry thought his wife was having an affair, and he tells I forget the character. I forget Tom Arnold's character's name now.
Yeah.
But yeah, when he tells Tom Arnold about it, he's like, Welcome to the club, man. I mean, I know.
You speak from experience on that one.
Yeah, I mean, I get home one day and my wife takes the ice cube. What kind of sick bitch takes the ice cube trays out of the freezer?
Someone who doesn't like you, Tom.
But you know what? You know what I do when my life turns to dog shit? I concentrate on work. We're gonna go catch some terrorists. We're gonna beat the crap out of them. You're gonna feel a whole lot better.
Seeing Tom Arnold in that really shocked me, but the biggest shock was who their boss was.
Oh yeah,
Charlton Heston with an eye patch, kind of like a
Nick Fury.
Yeah, geriatric Nick Fury. He just utters, "Say, you surely screwed the pooch on that one."
No. It was, sweet Jesus, Harry. You sure screwed the pooch last night.
Okay. Since you have Total Recall, you are the Rain Man of movies. You know every single line in every single movie you've ever seen.
Yes, and yet I could not remember my homework.
Yes, ever. Amazing how that works.
Yeah, and that's the funny thing too, was he literally technically did screw the pooch the night before. Not literally, but I mean he was being chased by their heads together.
Ouch.
And he's like, "Stay." And then they were too dazed and confused to want to go after him.
But Dobermans were harmed in the making of this film.
but yeah, back to what you were saying, the actor who played the character.
Yeah, Charlton Heston was hilarious.
Yeah,
and unexpected because I didn't see his name in the credit, but it was great to see him. One of his last roles, I think, too.
This really isn't blowing up my skirt, gentlemen.
Not words you ever expect to hear coming out of the mouth of Charlton Heston.
And that's the thing too. I mean, it's those actors in Airplane.
Yeah.
Because you have a satire movie, but it's played by very serious actors who don't crack up or anything.
Leslie Nielsen, who was the doctor in the Airplane movie, and Don't Call Me Shirley.
Yeah.
He was always usually a bad guy in a lot of TV shows during the 70s, but I'd never seen him in a comic role. That gave him a much bigger career than he ever had after that, because he ended up doing the Naked Gun movies too, and he was great.
I just want you to know we're all counting on you. But yeah, and then of course there's the pilot, a serious actor,
right?
and yet he says something funny like, "Billy, you ever seen a grown man naked?"
Peter Graves, who was in the TV version, the original TV version of Mission Impossible, and was also the host of a show on the History Channel or Biography Channel.
Billy in Turkish prison.
Good stuff.
Yeah. Now, let's see here. I'm gonna see if I can try the whole invite thing. Give me a moment here.
Come hang out with us. Tell your friends.
Yeah, I think invite. Leave call. Okay. Wrong button then. Okay. View more apps. Nope. Yeah. Whatchamacallit? Yeah, I mean, I just love that serious actors can play. Yeah. And that's the thing I do. You know, that's not afraid to smile, is not afraid to crack, tell a joke, provide he's furious.
If he's the smiling guy, so
yeah, but I mean, the thing is, from Batman Forever, he did, you know, when he thought Earl Chase Meridian like Batman and was reluctant to let Batman go.
That's cool. And she's a smile around Nicole and she's
but though there is one other character in Batman Forever. She was really only there just bounce Batman's bones.
Well,
Just if you were a superhero, would you not want a psychologist to have the hots for you and want to bounce your
sexy.
But yeah, whatchamacallit, yeah, like, but he's got to, he's mostly got to leave it as Bruce Wayne. The darn it, this I'm told he did it for yet
not saving them.
no well that Stan hanging out really is a pain. And, you know what? Well, I guess I won't be able to and all that in the chat. But yeah, I think Batman can tell jokes. He can smile and laugh. First off, well, for one thing, he mostly leaves that for his Bruce Wayne side. If he ever does it in Batman, he's got to do it in a like a British move.
Yeah.
After all, in the cartoon series The Batman, when Joker hijacked television, Bruce Wayne changed into being Batman. Alfred said in a droll manner, "Shall I TiVo it for you, sir?" So yeah, I mean, I think Batman, if he were to be fun, tell a joke, he would do it in that same droll manner that Alfred is known for, to show that that's how much of an influence Alfred has had on him.
Yeah, because I can't picture him doing it in the Christian Bale voice. Two guys walk into a bar, and yeah.
Two guys walk into a bar, and one says, "Ow."
That's not bad.
Well, it's a classic joke, you know.
He's fluctuating between his Batman character and his Dick Cheney character that he played in Vice. So it's a little
I wouldn't know since I didn't see Vice, but you have because you really want to see it, of course.
He is remarkable in that. You wouldn't believe it's the same guy that played the Dark Knight.
But yeah, whatchamacallit, like I was saying, I mean, Batman can be funny. He just needs to be stoic about it.
Right.
And if he does crack a smile, it's for something. Example, if Superman were to try and tell a joke to him, Batman may smile, but he would make sure no one sees it.
That's true.
But because after all, the Dark Knight's got to keep up appearances.
Of course.
And but if he definitely does, but if he tells something funny, it's got to be a moment when no one's expecting it.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
I hear you.
Like for example,
you'd be afraid not to laugh at Superman's jokes, or else he can do some serious damage.
Yeah,
you gotta kind of keep his ego going there.
But yeah, back to movies and such. What other movies is there to talk about? We covered Ninjas, we covered True Lies, we covered Batman Forever, and all that. Any other movies I can think of?
Well, I know you kind of did a video on Aquaman and Bumblebee.
Oh yeah. And I won't spoil anything because I don't want to risk anyone who's watching this right now. Right now, it's only one person, but I don't want to risk anyone who watches it later to get spoiled if they haven't seen it yet.
Well, the one spoiler I'll give is water is involved, heavily involved.
Obviously.
Yeah.
But and yeah, I actually watched Anna's review of the Aquaman.
Yeah.
She thought it was a bad movie, good bad movie.
Okay.
So yeah, because I mean, like it's like they didn't know when to take certain elements seriously with the movie. It's like first it's this, then it's this, and then and when you think it could get any more ridiculous, then they add this.
That's right. Top each other, whichever.
Yeah, it's different ideas for the plot, but rather than pick one, they mesh them all together.
Okay.
And sometimes that's not a good thing.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, it was bad. She says it was a bad movie, but it was a good bad movie. And on one hand, I can understand that because I mean, they were in the middle of the desert.
Yeah.
And then the next scene, they're right in the middle of Italy. How did they get there? Did they teleport off screen? What?
Must have been one of those ley lines or something that crisscrossed the earth. They just didn't tell us about.
Or magic with ley lines, because in most comic books they introduce magic ley lines.
Well, that goes without saying. It's magical.
Yeah, but we don't know if Aquaman is magical. I mean, we know that he's technically a meta-human, right, but we don't know if any of that meta power of his is magical. The Trident clearly is. Yeah. But yeah, we don't know if any are meta.
I thought Amber Heard looked quite magical to me. I mean, that's just my opinion.
And actually said that she was Ariel in that movie.
God, she was, yeah.
And you still haven't seen The Little Mermaid, have you?
No, I haven't.
That's one Disney animated feature you haven't seen yet. Got a little furry friend on four legs outside, waiting, wanting to see us. But right now, I'll let my stepdad go see him. But yeah, right now, yeah, Anna, the idea of Amber Heard being Ariel, but without the fins, that's I can believe that. But what else? Aquaman. I like the idea that the character was this kind of jerk with the heart of gold, because you know, he's been without his mother for years. He finds he has a greater calling than he originally thought, but he finds it's too big of a responsibility for him, and now he's forced to finally take up that responsibility and all that. Kind of like Surf Ninjas, I think. But yeah, whatchamacallit, and then Bumblebee, of course. Bumblebee is a good movie. Like I said, I enjoyed the first Transformers, and second one okay, but seemed similar to the first. Third, the only good thing about it was Leonard Nimoy's role in it, and I completely did not. I completely missed out 4 and 5. So yeah, when I first heard of this Bumblebee spin-off, or just spin-off, depending on what they choose to do with it. When I first heard of it, I wasn't exactly sure what to think about it, because I was like, they're now going to make a prequel spin-off of something we've seen 5 times over already. But yeah, when I saw it, it was different. It was better. Like I said, it was Star Wars meets E.T. meets Iron Giant, and the main character, the human, they actually had depth. They weren't just these one-note stereotypes like in the previous films. Because Witwicky, the character, Sam Witwicky's character, he came off as this horny teen that just wanted to get laid, and his parents were these obnoxious folk who were trying so hard to get him to stop masturbating and all that. But yeah, it was like human characters and such. But in the Bumblebee movie, the characters were more believable and all that. And basically, the girl, she had an arc, you know, and the mother, she didn't truly understand what her daughter was going through until by the end of the movie. And then the teenage crush of the main character, and the teenage crush is like but you know, he's likable. You can relate to him in that regard. Okay, so you're back
on the Bumblebee now?
Yeah, sorry, I had the whole Aquaman thing.
Gotcha. You didn't tell me you didn't spoil the ending.
No, I didn't spoil anything.
I don't think I fell asleep during the movie, so I think I've caught pretty much all of it.
Well, like I said in my review of the Aquaman Bumblebee movie, for Bumblebee, I can tell you what the arc of John Cena's character thing.
Yeah.
Can't they freaking leave us alone?
Phone call.
Oh, it's an important phone call? Yeah. Sorry about that. Apparently my set a bunch of robocalls that don't mean squat. But yeah, I think I can tell you all the arc of John Cena's character without spoiling anything. You love him, then you hate him, and then you love him again. It's that simple. And that's my vague telling of his art. But yeah, essentially, Bumblebee's the best of the entire Transformers live-action series, and I would like to see it continue. I would like to see, and I wouldn't mind seeing, some of the human characters return. I would not mind seeing the female lead of Bumblebee reunite with Bumblebee. And if they choose to ignore the movies that came before and have this go in a completely new direction, like a real reboot, I would be open for it. But yeah, essentially Bumblebee was the best of the Transformers live action movies. Whether or not it tops the animated movie from the 80s, that is still and by the way, I did love that they featured at least one of the songs from the animated movie in Bumblebee. You've got the touch. You got the power. I love that song. And like I said, I know it was first made for Transformers, but I didn't hear it until I first played my Shadow Warrior video game. Well, actually, I didn't play it when I heard it. I looked it up on YouTube myself, and when I heard it on YouTube, I was like, okay, I don't know the song, but I like it. And it's very hip, very cool. And essentially, yeah, I fell in love with the song because of Shadow Warrior, and then eventually I liked it for Transformers. And then I remember people referencing how the live action Transformers movies are not as good as the animated one. So one day I went to Walmart, got the animated movie, took it home. Me and my stepdad watched it. It was good. We now see why people compare it to the newer movies and why they think the animated one is better than the newer movies. And Bumblebee, it could very well challenge the movie. Not beat it, but at least challenge it. I mean, but then again, the whole reason Bumblebee has those songs in it is because they borrowed it from the anime movie. So there is that. So yeah, without the good things of the anime movie, we wouldn't have the good things of Bumblebee. So yeah, that's movies, I think. Can't think. I'll touch on movies again another time. But now on to video games. Like I said, Shadow Warrior. I got into it because I was trying to look for something that involved medieval Japan and modern day stuff. And essentially, that's how I stumbled upon it. I found out it was based on Doom, and there was an old version. But then Shadow Warrior 2013 was a newer version. That's the one I first got into, and I actually like the newer version a bit because it does tone down some of the lighthearted goofiness, but I like it because the melody, the background, it's like a two theme where it's action, yet there's a hint of tragedy behind it. But there's a hint of hope as well. And that's good. But yeah, I like the Shadow Warrior 2013. Don't know yet if I'm going to get the sequel, Shadow Warrior 2, but I do know that the 2013 one is the one I'm definitely most having fun with. whatchamacallit, I recently got LA Noire for my for my birthday / Christmas. We haven't had a chance out too much. But one time we were able to hang out was when we went to see Crimes of Grindelwald. But yeah, he helped me get LA Noire as both a birthday and Christmas gift because we figured we might not be able to see each other for Christmas. So there is that. But because I mean, this past Christmas was a really bit of a rough one. I mean, was down in Florida. My grandmother, my Nima, who passed, and my stepdad and I, we're falling a little bit on hard times, but we're doing our best to meet. But we're rough Christmas, but probably the roughest, maybe the worst, but I still kept a positive attitude despite that. I'm still keeping a positive attitude now. But yeah, I got LA Noire, and so far, well, I'm doing most of what I'm doing because I saw it on gameplay vids. I try to go for the best choices. Problem is, I didn't take the time to remember what some of those choices were. So I may have blundered some interrogations, but I still properly solved the cases. So there's that. So not perfect, but definitely passable. And the game does look fun. I mean, it definitely recaptures a good chunk of LA. It's got downtown from Wilshire to Hollywood. It's like a which is far from the coast, and it goes like northwest toward Hollywood. Now it's an alternate version of LA because from LA to Santa Monica there's like a large chunk of other areas, like there's Crime, there's Beverly Hills, there's get devastated by earthquake, and all those are rebuilt, but they're not the same as they were. Pagoda style community, more of a city known as Little Psycho. And if you watch my Shadow Warrior gameplay vids, I go a little. I mean, my story is meant to be not too truly symbolic of the meeting of Japan and America, because I grew up watching stuff like Sailor Moon had English dub, maybe not the best, but and then there was Power Rangers, which was essentially footage, Japanese, but with American action footage added into it, of course. So yeah, and because that's why there's a heavy emphasis on Japanese American stuff in my story. But it's not because I'm going for diversity, but not forced. But yeah, it's essentially LA. But then again, I've never really been to LA. I've seen a few landmarks and such in the movie, like Terminator, Speed, Golden Child, what else? Beverly. Yeah, all those movies. I grew up watching those and loved them. So, and that's another thing. My story, while it has a heavy emphasis of Japanese American stuff, it also is based on those action movies set in LA that I grew up watching. So I'm basically, my story is a culmination of all the things I grew up watching and loving, mixed together to create something totally original. And you can see the similarities, but just because there are similarities doesn't mean they're rip-offs, more like homages. And oh god, two viewers watching. By all means, feel free to let yourselves be known in the comments section. No, and if you don't want to, that's okay. I'm not judging. But yeah, I'm liking LA Noire. I'm gotten at least in the middle of my my second. I think there's a total of 4 different cases. There's the patrol case, the detective case, the homicide case, and then the I don't know what the 4th one is called. I forget. But yeah, I'm in the middle of the second case, the detective case. But yeah, essentially, LA Noire has cool 1940s action. Definitely has that, but feels like the 1920s/1930s vibe. And speaking of 1920s and 1930s, I feel like that's another movie that tends to get forgotten by Hollywood that constantly pushes for diversity. Harlem Night. It's a very funny movie, and I know I'm going back to movies. If my stepdad finishes up on his phone call, I'll be sure to have him here, and we can go back onto that for a quick moment to talk Harlem Nights. But yeah, sticking with video games. After Shadow Warrior and I'm into Lego video games. I like Lego Star Wars, Lego The Rings, Lego The Hobbit, despite the fact that it's not complete because it doesn't have Battle of the 5 Armies in it. But I didn't get a chance to play the Lego Harry Potter games yet. Curious enough, but my one problem with some of the earlier Lego games is that they didn't have actual audio. They just had sounds come out of the characters' mouths. But I didn't, but I'll still go back and give it a chance. And in regards to Lego Star Wars, I do still have Lego Force Awakens, and I might find time to go back and play it again. But for the time being, I'm just not gonna. I'm having a hard time wanting to touch anything most Star Wars, at least that isn't at least everything that's Disney Star Wars, because of the whole debacle of what's going on. I haven't touched Lego Force Awakens since before The Last Jedi, so I'm not going to touch it for a while longer until Lucasfilm gets their crap together. But yeah, and that's another thing too, because I mean, I haven't completed Lego Force Awakens yet, and I'm a bit of a completionist when it comes to some of these games with trophies and such. But yeah, I'm not. I guess I won't be finishing it until after Lucasfilm gets their shit together. But basically, I'm gonna keep Force Awakens despite being made by Disney and all the crap they given, but I'm not gonna watch any of or play any of it until they get their stuff together. But yeah, I keep the Force Awakens stuff because they were mostly gifts to me. I didn't buy Force Awakens. I didn't buy Lego Force Awakens. I didn't buy my Force Awakens T-shirt. They were all gifts to me. And if they're gifts, I'm going to keep them. So, yeah, there's that. And I may not have to like them, but I'll keep them just for the sentimental value. But and that's the thing also. I feel like, oh, okay, I'm going back. I'm venturing into movies again. But yeah, video games. Oh, I love the Star Wars Revenge of the Sith video game from the PS2 days. I liked how you could the different ways you can impale your opponents, the different, like a few different ways to kill them and all that. And I know you shouldn't, as a Jedi, you shouldn't like killing, but you can't. It's like a bit of a guilty pleasure in that respect. In fact, I like the saber play during in that game. That I wondered why they didn't do like a Star Wars Jedi Knight series based on all the movies like that game, where you could have had Phantom Menace, lightsaber duels, like the Revenge of the Sith video game and all that, or even A New Hope or Empire or Return of the Jedi or all that. Basically, because I mean, the Revenge of the Sith video game, it retold Revenge of the Sith, but in a uniquely different way. So you could have done a new game, a sequel to that, as like the Star Wars saga, where you using the same, you retold all the movies in the video game in the same video game style, and like as the Revenge of the Sith game. And in the matter of video games, I also love The Force Awakens. Not a Force Awakens. The Force Unleashed. See, that's the problem also now with Force Awakens. It makes it impossible to say Force Unleashed without accidentally saying Force Awakens. But yeah, I like I love The Force Unleashed. I thought the character of Starkiller was so good, he almost made me like him more than Darth Vader. I do admit there is one problem he does have with the whole him being a Superman with Force powers. You know, he's so powerful he can challenge even the Emperor and all that. I think his power should be if you were to tell a more believable Star Wars story with him now, I would have it where he's not powerful enough to. I think maybe what it is if you were to recapture that scene where him and the Emperor were shooting Force lightning at the same time, which resulted in a big explosion. You should have it where he willed himself to that power level, but for everything else, he's like as powerful as maybe, I don't know, Phantom Menace Obi-Wan or something. Oh, now you're back.
Now I'm back.
Okay, so what was the phone call? Real quick, if I may.
That's my buddy Paul. Just was asking how I was doing and all that stuff. So.
Okay, well then, I had ventured into games, but I'm willing to go back into movies real quick to touch on something. A movie that most of the forced diversity crowd in Hollywood don't tend to mention, because I mean, another thing, they mention how Black Panther is the greatest movie for African Americans, yet they don't mention Blade.
Blade was a very good movie, no doubt. I think Black Panther though made $1 billion, so it tends to get a little bit more play and notoriety than Blade did. Yeah,
but they're still acting like Black Panther is the best thing that's ever happened since Wonder Bread. Yet Blade was there first.
Blade was there first.
Yeah, so I mean,
if you want to go back far enough, you can actually say Shaft. The original Shaft with Richard Roundtree, although Samuel L. Jackson did great in the role. Technically not a superhero, but he was like a dominant actor in the movie.
Yeah, but my point is you see the hypocrisy. They're constantly making Black Panther out to be the best representation of African Americans.
Well, overall, it was
or African people.
Right.
And yet Blade beat them to that long ago, and they don't mention it at all. If someone brings it up to them, they just go quiet.
Well, I think the cast itself was overwhelming, except for a couple of white dudes. You had the.
But let's not get too far into that.
I was just saying.
But you see the hypocrisy, is what I'm saying.
There's hypocrisy there, but this was a terrific movie. Whatever you think, whatever your racial standpoint might be.
Yeah. But and then another thing, the forced diversity crowd that does not mention Harlem Nights.
A great, terrific movie. 3 great generations of black comics: Red Fox, Richard Pryor, Eddie Murphy.
Yeah,
tremendous film.
And who also played the lady again? What's her name?
Della Reese.
Della Reese. I keep forgetting that name.
In fact, what was cool about Harlem Nights is the chemistry between Red Fox and Della Reese in that movie was so strong, it inspired a sitcom called The Royal Family, starring Red Fox and Della Reese and produced by Eddie Murphy. In fact, Red Fox passed away on the set of A Royal Family. And when he was on the show Sanford and Son back in the 70s, way back in the Stone Age, his big line in the show, because he couldn't stand dealing with Aunt Esther, he'd always be clutching his heart, say, "Oh, it's the big one, Elizabeth. I'm coming, honey. I'm coming, honey." So he's having a heart attack on the set, and I'm sure half the set probably thinks he's just goofing around, because that was been his bit for years, and he actually had a fatal heart attack
on the set.
On the set. So
wow. And like you said, Richard Pryor and or Red Fox and Della Reese, that chemistry.
Oh yeah.
I remember the bit where Eddie Murphy's character Quick accused Della Reese's character Vera of either having an accounting problem, and yet she interpreted it as him accusing her of stealing.
Well, that's kind of what he was inferring, though.
Yeah, but the thing, but he said problem with arithmetic. That does not necessarily mean he's accusing of stealing.
Money kept coming up short.
It just means they have he was saying accounting problem, not a thieving problem.
Well, she took it
exactly. She got over. She blew it out of proportion. Is what I'm saying. And that seems to be a thing with most people these days. They like to blow things out of proportion, see it the wrong way.
Especially Michael Bay. He blows half the set out of proportion in Transformer movies. That's another story.
My ass is what's out of proportion, Mike. I got a big chunk missing. It's actually a small chunk.
Also, Michael Bay.
But and that's the thing. I think the Bad Boys movies are actually good Michael Bay films.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, there are some issues with story writing, but the chemistry between Martin Lawrence and Will Smith make up for it.
I still think all those cool cars were getting destroyed was a total waste.
In Bad Boys 2.
Cars,
yeah. The purple muscle car, the orange muscle car. Beauties. Yep. I know. Yep. But yeah, back to what I was saying, back to Harlem Nights, the chemistry between Red Fox and Della Reese, their characters. I remember, when Quick accused her of stealing, and Red Fox like, "Hey man, they accusing you of stealing. Now sit your ass down and shut the fuck up." "You shut the fuck up, Benny. I would tell you to kiss my ass too, but you probably couldn't find it, you blonde motherfucker."
Fuck you, bitch.
That was great stuff. Yeah. And then, of course, she tells Quick to follow her out back into the alley so they can actually fight.
Uh-huh.
And that's the thing too. Most women these days, they act like men are abusers, but some women actually do know how to fight. They do beat the crap out of men. So for those of you who think that men only abuse women and it's not the other way around, that is false.
No,
totally false.
That's very true, and in real life situations as well. But I think you're touching the third rail in this discussion. You might want to move back to movies again.
Yeah, well, this is a movie technically,
Right, but it's a comical setting.
Definitely, and it's a good one, because I mean, Eddie Murphy went up there laughing, acting like he was going to he was actually going to fight her, but he was actually just laughing at the whole thing. He was just laughing, having a good laugh.
He wasn't laughing too long after.
Because then
put him in his place.
She punched him right in the nose. And he's like, "What the fuck is wrong with you? Me? What the fuck is wrong with you? You accuse me of stealing? The only thing I'm stealing right now is your face." And then, of course, he punches her in the gut right back, saying, "Are you out of your fucking mind?" And then she's like, "Oh, yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Come on, sucker. Let's get it on." "Oh, you want to fight? You want to fight? All right, everyone sit back. I'm going to beat the shit out of you."
Didn't quite work out that way.
Yeah, he's like, he got two punches into her in the face, and then she's like, "You hit like a bitch." And then she swings and misses, and he's like, "Oh, I punch like a bitch? I punch like a bitch? Oh, you all say goodnight to this bitch right now." And then he misses, and she's like, "Wow!" And then she's like, got him on the ground, going, "You're gonna have to learn to respect me." And then the guys on the side are laughing their butts off, and she's like, "And the next time you accuse me of stealing, I'll kick your ass again." Quick, of course, not gonna take that shit. Grabs a trash can lid and right to her face, and then he gets up, lifts the entire can, drops it on her, calling her a crazy bitch, and then she gets back up and he's like, "Oh, you want to hit people with garbage cans." And then she pulls out a knife saying, "Now I have to cut you." Okay, my mistake, not a knife. He's like, "You got to put that razor away." And he pulls out a gun. He's like, Don't fuck with me no more. You put that razor away or I'm going to pull your damn pinky toe off. Oh, now you're going to shoot me in my pinky toe. I'm not playing with you. I will blow that thing, knock the foot thing off your foot if you don't put the razor away. You must be crazy to pull your gun on me. You're going to be the nine-toe happy limping bitch in all of Harlem if you don't stop fucking with me. Now put that razor away. And go ahead. There it is. Shoot. Quick, go ahead. Take your best shot. And then, of course, he's like wondering, should he actually do it? He looks to the guys. They're like, they shrug. And then you hear a bang. Oh! So, yeah, she kind of escalated things unnecessarily in that.
Yeah. As if they just stuck the fisticuffs, it would have been fine.
Well, she actually escalated to begin with just wanting to fight him. I mean, he was willing to talk it over. He was just having a good laugh.
She felt her reputation was impugned, and she needed to take care of that.
Well, that's understandable. But as we know nowadays, sometimes fighting does not always solve things. It tends to make things worse.
Well, sometimes it makes you feel better when you're done fighting.
Yeah.
If you're on the winning side or
yeah, but here's the thing. She started the fight, and she lost it when she lost her pinky toe.
She was ahead on points until she pulled the razor. And then Eddie pulled the gun, and that's when it
bang!
Escalated.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, it's the thing. I mean, this movie, it went to lengths that most movies nowadays don't have the balls to do. So yeah, I mean, most people like to praise, Black Panther for its mostly all blast, and I applaud that, but don't think it's not that they should not mistake it for being the only one to ever do that.
I mean, Tyler Perry did a bunch of movies with his Medea movies and other ones he's done, and interesting as far like a step further than movies will do today. Harlem Nights was set, I'm guessing, the late 80s, early 90s, and it was a different time. Even millennials watching Seinfeld today are offended by some of this stuff said.
Wow.
So, yeah, that was one of the most successful sitcoms of all time. But the whole thing is, comedy doesn't go by political correctness.
No, it does not.
Funny is funny. I
mean,
if they thought...
And if you're sensitive to it, then don't watch it.
If they thought... Seinfeld was rough. I don't ever want you to see All in the Family when that's on TV Land or some of these other channels. Like, wow, it'll blow your mind. Some of the things Archie Bunker said, and that was considered one of the most groundbreaking sitcoms of all time.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, they act like they talk about how great movies like Black Panther are. Yet, where would they went? Why don't they bring up old movies like Harlem Nights?
I don't know if they could make a Harlem Nights like that today. I mean, Eddie Murphy's still around.
Oh, I think they could. I think the right people could.
Yeah, it's possible. I mean, although I'll be honest, a lot of movie makers now, they want to take chances on movies. They're going to go to Netflix or Hulu before they go, to
anywhere near Hollywood
motion picture. Sure.
Exactly, because Hollywood is a bunch of tight elitist stooges who think that, hey, what we say goes, and you have to like it.
Yeah.
Well,
not necessarily. People are going to vote with their pocketbooks if they think they're going to get a heap and helping of political correct nonsense, and they're not into it. They won't go. Simple as that.
Yeah, because I mean that's the thing. I mean, when we saw The Last Jedi, we didn't think it was going to be a political correct mess.
I mean, we just wanted a good Star Wars movie. That's all.
Yeah, and since we're back on movies, let's get your view on Star Wars. I know I probably said a few things or two on myself on my vids. So, when did you first get into Star Wars?
Well, I saw the original one at a drive-in back in 1977 when the Star Wars originally came out, and it was interesting. I'm more of a Star Trek fan.
Yeah, I mean, and it's okay to be both Star Wars and Star Trek fan.
Yeah, it's a good
but
story.
Star Trek was more your thing.
Right, but to be honest, Star Wars didn't become interesting until Han Solo showed up.
Yeah.
And he was kind of my favorite character in Star Wars.
I understand that, but that to me is why I always prefer Luke Skywalker, because he's supposed to be the hero of the story. But for A New Hope, and Han was the sidekick of his own story.
Well, I think of his hero's journey.
Yeah.
You start off,
Yeah,
you know,
because
the kid, and then you work.
that's why I like Return of the Jedi the most, because he's finally in the spotlight, and Han has to take a back seat.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, and that's the thing too. I mean, you feel like Han had nothing much to do in Return of the Jedi, except he led the assault on the shield generator, and he finally got confirmation if whether or not Leia loved him back.
Right.
Or actually, not my mistake. He got that in Empire, but
Yeah.
you know, she said "I love you," and he said "I know." But
Well,
he finally took the time to actually admit his love for her.
well, and
That's what it is in Return of the Jedi.
right. In Empire, he was kind of chilling out a bit, so
Yeah.
to speak.
Oh, I get it now.
Carbonite.
This entire live stream is brought to you by Carbonite.
All right.
But yeah, I mean, you said it yourself. Han is your favorite character. Luke is mine.
I mean, we're seeing The Force Awakens. It was great to see them together. Unfortunately,
Not together.
they weren't all together, and that was the disappointing
The
part.
big missed opportunity.
Sure.
Now, here's the thing. I still think Force Awakens, if they wanted to do it where they're all in the same movie but don't share the same screen, there is a way you could have. I mean, you could have had Han and Leia and Luke and Leia, but no Luke and Han.
I could have done a dream sequence.
Here's what I would have done. I would have had it where after the Battle of Takodana, you know, Maz Kanata's castle gets wrecked. Leia takes BB-8's information, and she goes to find Luke, not Rey.
Right.
But while the whole Han is getting killed off thing happens, when you see she climbs the mountain, she sees Luke from behind, and maybe her and Luke do talk, but you don't see Luke's face or anything. You just see it back and hear his voice.
Yeah.
She's begging him to come back. He's trying not to. You know, it's kind of like A New Hope all over again. He's trying to refuse the call to adventure. But then the moment Han is stabbed by his son, Leia, she's like collapsing, and either she does die from heartbreak like her mother did, or, you know, she's just in a coma, whichever. Luke turns around, but you're still seeing his back. He's like holding Leia, realizing something, and because now he's felt the tremor in the Force, and he now knows he can't ignore the call now.
Yeah.
And then it cuts back to Finn and Rey dealing with Kylo Ren, and then when Finn does use the Skywalker lightsaber and loses, Rey does not get the lightsaber.
Right.
The lightsaber flies out of the snow past Kylo Ren's head into the robotic hand of Luke.
See, The Last Jedi should have been basic training for Rey, aka Mary Sue.
Yeah, not being told why the Jedi needed to end.
Right. But I think the one interesting aspect of The Last Jedi, well, the only interesting aspect, I know everybody talks about the Mary Poppins scene with Leia, but it's the first time we ever really see in a Star Wars movie Leia using some sort of sense of the Force.
Well, technically not true. The whole communication between her and Luke in Empire Strikes Back.
Right.
But then again, you could argue that it was Luke doing it, not her.
Right.
But the fact that she even received it should mean something.
Well, that's true. I mean, at that point, you should have realized that maybe that they were brother and sister.
Yeah. But well, in retrospect, that would be the sign.
Yeah.
But, you know, at the time, George Lucas had not planned for Leia to be Luke's sister. That was something that was made at the last minute during the making of Return of the Jedi. Because originally they were going to have it where the big reveal atop the whole "I am your father" thing for Return of the Jedi, they were going to have it be Boba Fett is Luke's mother in disguise.
That would have been interesting.
I mean, I would have liked that to know that Padme actually survived and disguised herself as Boba Fett.
Yeah.
That would have been great.
Wow. Never heard that story before.
Well, yeah, but since someone shot that down, and that's why they went with the Leia being his sister instead. I
guess they couldn't deny the chemistry that Han and Leia has. So that's why they had to.
But the thing was, when Star Wars was originally written, Luke was meant to be the hero who got the girl.
Right.
But for some reason, it seemed a little too generic for some people at the time. That's why they referred her ending up with the dashing rogue.
Oh, girls like the bad guys. That's how it is. They always like the bad guy.
Yeah, and what happens when some of those bad guys turn into abusive schmucks?
Well,
there you have it.
More like the bad boy, I should say, rather than the bad guy.
Yeah.
So.
But that's why I feel like sometimes they don't give the good guy enough credit.
True.
That's why I'm more of a Luke fan.
No.
And, yeah, I mean, but like I said, Force Awakens should have had it where Leia goes to find Luke in the middle of the movie while Finn and Han are going to rescue Rey. And then, when she gets force pushed into the tree, Finn does battle Kylo Ren, but then drops the lightsaber and gets incapacitated. Rey stirs. You think she's going to get it, but then the lightsaber flies out of past Kylo Ren's head into the hand of Luke Skywalker, and he does pull out his green one. So he's holding both the blue and the green one, the one that belonged to his father, right, and the one he made for himself. And then he pulls the hood off. You see Luke finally, because like I said, during the bits you see Leia with him, you're seeing his back with his hood up.
Right.
And you may hear his voice, but you don't actually see him. But yeah, when he reveals himself to fight Kylo Ren in The Force Awakens, pulls the hood down, and he ignites both blue and green lightsaber to fight his nephew.
A path not taken.
The path that should have been taken. I mean, it would have been a shame you didn't get one more moment between Luke and Han, but, you still would have seen, Han and Leia connect and Luke and Leia connect.
Right.
But yeah, I mean,
well, we went 30 years, guys.
You could have had
30 years Awakening. The Last Jedi. It was a far better movie. A lot of
here's the
wasted
thing.
Opportunities.
Here's the thing. George Lucas and I think, George Lucas and maybe Michael Arndt, they had a line out for 7, 8, and 9. They had a line out written out. It was just the in-depth stuff that needed to be sorted out by whoever was making the movies. But what did they do when Kathleen Kennedy is named president? She scraps them. She throws them in the dumpster and burns them. And then she goes and decanonizes the EU. She makes it where Mara Jade and Grand Admiral Thrawn and all those other great characters that we know and love do not matter.
Somebody needs to decanonize Kathleen Kennedy with a real cannon.
Oh!
Shoot her out of a cannon. That would work.
Yeah. Where do we shoot her? To the other side of the world or into space?
Into Sharknado.
Oh, I think she should be shot in space because there's no way she's going to pull a Mary Poppins on like Leia.
In space, nobody can hear you scream.
But yeah, whatchamacallit? But yeah, I mean, they did have a line out for 7, 8, and 9, but they chose not to. But she and the EU and tell her own PCBS in Star Wars. Whatchamacallit? Yeah, I think that's about as far as we can go with the movies now. I know we haven't. I did touch a bit on games, but
you're the game guy, right?
Actually, let's go into something that's both a game and a movie. Starts off as a game, but went into movies. Resident Evil.
Oh yeah.
Now I got into Resident Evil kind of like I get into most action movies. I got into the horror movies. I got into the second installment before I ever got into the first. For Terminator, I got into Terminator. I saw Terminator 2 before I got into Terminator 1. And then for Aliens in my mid-20s, I saw Aliens before I saw Alien. And because of that, I kind of like the second installments more, with a slight exception to Terminator.
You love The Godfather too.
I never saw The Godfather.
I'm saying Godfather 2, it kind of got the whole ball going on sequels. Because it was a rare case where the sequel was better than the original.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, when I was a kid, I remember I got into Terminator when I was like 3 to 4 years old.
Right.
And yeah, I saw Terminator 2 first, then I saw Terminator 1. I preferred 2, but now as a grown man, I do have a new value. I prefer Sarah Connor in Terminator 1 over Sarah Connor in Terminator 2, because in Terminator 2, she had a good arc, you know, realizing she was about to become that which she despised if she had killed Miles Dyson.
Right.
But she looked a little too butch.
Well, I think she had to be John's mother and father. So
well, yeah,
that's the hard part, being a single parent, and you find out that your child is the only one that can stop a major war and the machines from taking over.
Yeah,
so she had to play a dual role there, and
yeah,
she kind of lost a little bit of her
femininity.
You know, her life before we ran into John Connor's father.
Yeah, but well, yeah, and but yeah, I kind of like the fact that she was a vulnerable woman who, because like I said in my previous stream, you could actually compare the victimizing of Sarah Connor to that of rape victims.
Well, it was a traumatic experience.
Exactly, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's more like PTSD, I would say.
Yeah,
that would be my definition as opposed to a rape. It's a traumatic thing you went through.
Yeah, but my point is that you know, Sarah, she was being stalked, and the stalker was killing everyone she knew and loved.
Right.
And because of that, she needed a protector, and that protector was Kyle Reese. And unfortunately, he too died. So she was the last one standing. She had to fight back or she would die, and she did not want to die. So she found the strength within to defeat the Terminator.
That's usually what happens. It's fear, a fight or flee thing. If you can't flee, then you got to fight.
But again, what I do like about Terminator 2 is it explores a concept most people do not realize. Most people who are traumatized, whether it's from rape or something else, they can become their own worst enemy, that which they hate.
Sure.
That's because I mean, here's how I see it. In a case of a rape victim, a woman is raped, and this dedicated police officer / detective goes to after the rapist.
Yeah.
He captures him, brings him in, and in most cases, the detective does not try to help the victim. He just moves on to the next assignment, moves on to the next case, looking for the next bad guy. But because he doesn't take the time to help the victim recover, the victim doesn't know how to help themselves recover, and they feel the only way they can recover is to stop feeling like a victim, and they feel the only way they can stop feeling like a victim is to kill the person that victimized them. They become that which they hate.
Well, sure. And I think it's not really the arresting officer's job, though, to help her get over her situation, because he faces this every day. That's a part of his life.
But the
victim is another story.
Yeah,
you got to have social workers or psychologists.
That way of looking at detective is why he comes off, is why the victim goes down the dark path, because she feels that the person that helped her does not care. So therein lies the rub there.
Right.
And that's why I feel like in Supergirl, she's not taking this whole Agent Liberty thing seriously, because she is the careless cop moving on to the next assignment and not caring about the victims. Because anyone who saw the episode that was the origin of Agent Liberty, his perspective,
right,
during the first season, his steel mill was losing his funds and in favor of Nth Metal. Now, ignoring the whole, how is production of Nth Metal better than production of steel? And ignoring that, the dynamics of that. The fact is, he's losing his steel mill to Luthor Corp.
Right.
And basically, she's the rich person shutting them down.
Yeah, hurting the little guy.
she may be trying to help the little guy, but she's doing it by also hurting the little guy.
And you know what? Everything you can say a lot about Supergirl, about like how PC it is. The first times I've seen in a superhero show or movie that they actually show the aftermath of all the damage that happens during all these fights and the people that were actually affected by that damage.
Yeah,
you're right about Supergirl just kind of doing what she has to do, and Martian Manhunter as well, and then just moving on to the next assignment. But what's the damage left behind? And I think they did a really, really good job
of that in Agent Liberty's
portraying that. And you can even say to some extent the first one with Tom Holland with Michael Keaton playing the Vulture.
Yeah,
he was trying to help clean up after the Avengers, the Chitauri, and he got kind of victimized that way when
Tony Stark created this whole new damage control to take his job.
Exactly.
He back to what I was saying. For the Supergirl Agent of Liberty episode, the Agent of Liberty was on his way to work with his dad. They find out one of the workers is an alien. The dad is a bit bigoted, but play peacemaker.
Right.
The Agent of Liberty is trying to play peacemaker, but one of the other workers, other human workers, throws something at the alien, which triggers him of spike shooting out, and as a result of that, the father gets injured. Then Supergirl and the DEO show up. Supergirl is supposed to be someone who fights for everyone, human and alien. But during that ordeal, she came off as biased toward the alien.
Right.
They did patch up the father, but she was more concerned with alien than the human. That was her.
Interesting the way they played it. It wasn't just one particular event, but sort of to quote Lemony Snicket, a series of unfortunate events that kind of led to son Sam Witwer becoming Agent.
Because after that, there was the Daxamite invasion in season 2, I believe.
Yeah.
And they basically they're fighting off with Supergirl and Martian Manhunter. Those who saw the Supergirl was fighting the Daxamite leader.
Right.
But we see Martian Manhunter during a fight with Daxamite inadvertently wrecked their home.
Yeah.
Wrecked the home of the Agent of Liberty's family.
Right, and that's what I mean. There's just plans that led the son into becoming Agent of Liberty.
Yeah, I mean, he may have saved their lives from the Daxamite, but he did not help with rebuilding what they've lost.
And basically, he probably felt to rebuild, he had to take care of the fight that was at hand, and either insurance would cover it or not. Well, they don't have alien damage insurance.
Apparently, there was no insurance deal because he went jobless for a bit, especially when he started speaking out against aliens. Now he was speaking because they were the ones with power, just like the DEO and Supergirl and Lena Luthor.
Yep.
He has a problem with people power and saying they're actually doing it for their own good.
Right.
Because Lena, she's trying to better, mankind, but she's doing it at the expense of the little guy because the little guy's steel mill got shut down.
Well, to quote Jack Nicholson in the first Batman movie, I guess in order to make an omelet, you got to break a few eggs.
Yeah, but unfortunately, breaking some eggs can also make the people you're trying to help your worst enemies.
Oh, no doubt.
Because during one of the latest events that resulted in Supergirl getting involved, the steel mill was destroyed, and his dad died in it.
Yeah,
and there was no Supergirl, no DEO, no one of power to help him, the little guy. It was like and of course, like I said, when he was a teacher in college, I think.
Yeah.
And one student was an alien, or some of them. But when he starts speaking about how aliens are like cockroaches, they leave their planets get destroyed and they come here to infest. it's understandable he feels this way because some of the aliens are bad.
Right.
Supergirl's of the mindset that not all aliens are bad, and she's like living in a bubble.
Well, the student was taking
personal offense.
Well, taking personal, know everything he'd been through.
Yeah, but I mean, but I mean,
and I don't know if he really explained that to his class about the class already knew through the news.
Yeah, because if he did, he would he might risk making his hatred too personal, and no one would be understanding.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, like they explain that they show us that he's not entirely wrong. You know, the aliens are coming here trying to live better lives, but unfortunately, they're bringing their problems here too, and we, the ordinary people, are suffering for it.
And of course, that also kind of the present political situation.
Yeah, unfortunately.
You know, that Supergirl is probably bringing more politics into the show than really need be, because a lot of people like to watch these shows to escape from
real world politics
and the news.
Yeah, because I mean, they even
part of it.
They had Linda Carter as president because they assumed Hillary was going to win, and yeah, it seems like most of the past season and a half now, or 2 seasons, they spend most of their time making jabs at Trump. Now, I may not, I'm not going to get into politics. I don't know. I don't think I like Trump. I'm pretty sure I don't.
I can understand why people voted for him.
Yeah.
And I don't think everybody that voted for Trump stretches the imagination.
No.
I think he got quite a few people that are maybe racist to vote for him. But I wouldn't say everyone that did, because it kind of failed this country. Not just one. Guys like Trump are created in a vacuum. There's a series of events that kind of lead to that.
Yeah, there was talk to win, that he was just going to run just so he can say that he ran.
Well, start his own TV network.
And then he wouldn't start. Right. And then all of a sudden he actually won, and he didn't know what to do.
It was a brand extension. It's basically kind of putting what better way to do it, and then hundreds of millions of people watching it.
Yeah, and now because he is president, all the PC people in Hollywood using what it means to tell entertaining stories,
right.
And all their stuff is everything they write now in shows and movies is hate tweets toward Trump.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is, he does bring a lot of it on himself by the things he tweets.
Yes, he does.
If he doesn't do that, maybe it's not as much.
But on the other hand, you got to give him credit for calling out these people who are ruining the entertainment industry.
Well,
he's
part of the entertainment industry.
Yeah.
If it weren't for him being on the apprentice Donald Trump presidency.
True.
So, it's kind of a love-hate with the press in Hollywood, because the press made him what he was. They gave him all the free time during the 2016 campaign.
But now he's turned all that on them.
But when they don't plant something or broadcast something, all of a sudden, they're the enemy of the people. So
yeah, but now they officially are the enemy of the people, because Star Wars, Star Trek, all those great movie franchises that have great entertainment in them are now political drivel.
Well, people vote with their pocketbook. They did with the Solo movie, which I heard wasn't all that bad, but
it's
going there
because of what, especially since one of the people said that Lando was always a ladies' man.
Right.
He was a suave, charming ladies' man.
He used to do 45 commercials, and there's nobody on Billy Dee Williams.
Yeah. So when you go and turn a character played by the suave, smooth ladies' man Billy Dee Williams into a pansexual, you are completely out of touch with reality.
Women love him.
So. But yeah, I mean, it seems like the whole Supergirl thing, she comes off as she says that she will be there for everyone, human and alien, but obviously she's coming off biased towards aliens.
Yeah,
because
she is an alien.
Yeah, because when Agent of Liberty, before he was Agent Liberty, confronted the student who got out and got him fired,
right,
in the alien bar, Supergirl as Kara bumps into him, telling him to step off. When she's not even taking the time to get his, she is living in a bubble. She, as far as she knows, and everyone else that doesn't agree with her,
associating with the aliens more so because she is one and she's having a hard time fitting into the human world. So there's that aspect of it too.
Yeah, well, she comes off as alienate. She's alienating the human people. See what I did there?
I see what you did there. It's pretty good.
Yeah, but yeah, her attitude of sympathizing more with aliens than with humans makes her unlikable in the eyes of the ordinary people. That's why I really hope that when Agent of Liberty has an encounter with either Martian Manhunter or Brainy, whichever one still has psychic powers, or both.
Yeah,
they use those powers to show Supergirl what's going on and show her his perspective, and she realizes she's heading wrong.
You're not producers, Jeff, that they would be deep enough to see where his point of view is coming from. You're asking quite a bit.
Yeah, but then again, these producers are of the political spectrum of not actually caring about their side or what's driving them. They don't care.
Yeah.
That's what represents them. She represents these people who live in a bubble and are not willing to be open-minded enough to what drives others.
Very true.
And that's why I feel like Supergirl in the TV series is not a very good character anymore. She came off as inspiring at first, but she became a political puppet.
Well, and she also, her character kind of got these different, almost like watching Supergirl. You want to borrow another CW show?
Yeah, I mean that's the problem with CW as a whole. Now they don't care about the super that they're adapting any soap opera drama.
Right.
But you can't do that. Right. I mean, Felicity Smoke, she was a great character in the first 2 seasons of Arrow.
Yep.
Now she is a completely unlikable bitch.
But when she smiles, Jeff, I just get tingles all over.
Yeah.
I always liked her.
And let's also look at the hypocrisy a bit.
Mine or hers?
Well, a bit of hers, really. Okay. And Ollie and Oliver Queen's as well.
Yeah.
In season 5, when they were trying to look for Prometheus, she betrayed Team Arrow when she freed the guy the computer villain who would come back in season 6.
Uh-huh.
Now in season 6, it's revealed that Renee betrayed Ollie to the police.
Yep.
He gets kicked off the team for that.
How about that?
What the hell happens is the punishment for Felicity when she betrayed the team.
Exactly.
She betrayed the team first, and she didn't get any punishment whatsoever. Why? Because she's sleeping with Oliver.
Although it's great that they were able to keep that villain, because he's played one of the best villains when he was Ben Linus on the show Lost. And it was also, he was in Person of Interest.
Oh, yeah, you forgetting me into that a little bit, too.
And the other character on Person of Interest, Mr. Reese, played by Jim Caviezel, that should be the Batman.
Yeah, he definitely comes off as Batman-like.
They could play Bruce Wayne, but put the cowl on him. I say, oh, he would be the ideal Batman.
Yeah.
Especially if they want to do a little older Batman, because he's going to be 50 now. So
there was a time they wanted to do what you suggested, where they want to do the older Batman with Kurt Russell.
I think that would have been great. Kurt Russell would have been fantastic as Batman.
Yeah, because I think it was the movie where he actually showed good Bruce Wayne attitude.
Yeah, well, he
looked good in a suit.
Yeah, he looked in the tux. Okay, now I can see him as Bruce Wayne. But I remember the Escape from New York and Escape from L.A. movies where he played Snake Plissken.
Yeah.
With the eye patch and stuff. Man, he would be great as Batman.
Yeah. But yeah, Jim Caviezel. But I mean, Kurt Russell's great, don't get me wrong, but I think he might not be able to do it much now.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you want to go to the next best thing.
I agree. I agree 100%. I don't think Affleck is going to play in the next movie, or even if the next movie they even have a script for yet.
Well, there's
he's supposed to be directed and star in it, and now it doesn't look like he's involved at all.
The new Batman movie's in developmental hell, and there's even talks of a Deathstroke movie. I say screw the Deathstroke movie and just have Deathstroke be the villain of the Batman movie.
Why not? Because, I mean, different than trying to get another Joker or trying to get another.
Well, I mean, and that's another thing too. There are other Batman villains in the Rogues Gallery that have not given the on-screen treatment yet.
Dozens of villains there.
Yeah, and they're not given the on-screen treatment just yet.
Yeah,
because they don't know how to handle it.
See, Justice League is fine, except your two main characters are kind of missing action because Henry Cavill's not going to be Superman anymore.
Yeah,
by the looks of things.
Well,
I can see Sam Witwer playing Superman. I think he's got the right.
Well, it looks with Aquaman and possibly Wonder Woman 1984, they may take this opportunity to dissolve the DCEU and possibly do it over again. Sort of reboot, but with some of the
snapping his fingers.
Yeah, and I often wonder, how DC and Marvel would be myself in a shared universe, as I said.
You also have to have another Green Lantern movie, but I think Ryan Reynolds is going to take a big pass on that.
There actually is works of a Green Lantern Corps movie, but here's the thing: they're going to try and have it involve all the Earth-originated lanterns, like Hal Jordan, Stewart.
That would be ballsy to cast John Stewart.
But I don't think they can do that.
NAACP would lose their minds.
I know the character.
Yes, it would.
But it would be humorous, I mean, they have a guy named John Stewart playing a Green Lantern named John Stewart.
Sure. Unless they want to do that, what they did with Robert Downey Jr. in Tropic Thunder.
Yeah, that's true, too.
So, that could probably pull it.
But yeah, anyways, the movie of Green Lantern Corps is supposed to be about Hal Jordan, John Stewart, even the most hated Green Lantern of Earth.
Guy Gunner?
Yeah.
Oh, that'd be...
That's the one thing people often never really liked, how Earth and space sector two more like Green Lanterns than any other space sector. But if the movie can find a way to tell it well, of having all these Earthbound Green Lanterns in one movie, if they can tell in a good way, then I'll give them a try.
Well, you'd almost have to have it like a major villain to cover all those time streams. So it would probably be like on the order of Days of Future Past.
If it is a time travel kind of film.
Or they can even do it as part of another future Justice League movie. But we'll see.
Yeah. But whatchamacallit? Wow.
They keep teasing in the Justice League, how they open it up, the way the Marvel movies open up with their figures. They keep teasing Green Lantern. We haven't seen it yet other than Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah. And here's the thing. I know a lot of people don't like the Ryan Reynolds Green Lantern movie. I did not mind it because to me it was a DC film that felt more like a Marvel film. And I liked it for that.
Yeah, it wasn't bad. It was
it
was great for Ryan Reynolds because he got his future wife.
Yeah.
Blake Lively.
But and yet it did rely a little bit too heavy on CGI.
Right.
And they didn't truly do justice.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, still they could. And
don't make the suit animated, guys. Take it from Ryan Reynolds.
Don't make the super suit green or animated. But yeah, and they originally were going to go for a realistic suit.
Yeah,
they actually were, but they wanted to cut costs, CGI.
They cut costs and lost $90 million in the process. So.
Unfortunately,
good job.
Yeah, real money making maneuver. Not. But yeah, whatchamacallit? Yeah, we've been streaming for 98 minutes and only got like 2 viewers.
Well, everybody.
Now we got 3 now. Wow.
We got 3 now.
Oh, wow. Now we get 3.
Now we get 3. We're about ready to wrap it up. What's going on?
I don't know. But yeah, if you're now.
I mean to chase them off.
Oh, I didn't mean to
Is there
chase.
something I said?
Yes.
I'm sorry.
And I mean, anyone could comment on here, but I don't see anyone trying. And even if they are, unfortunately, it's not coming up on our end, unfortunately. But yeah, I mean, it's not my fault. If anything, it's YouTube's fault. And giving me a hassle early on in the middle of this whole ordeal.
YouTube and Google. They're the devil.
They're out to get me.
They're out to get you.
They're out to keep the little guy down.
I guess so.
Because if they weren't, I wouldn't be having this problem.
Their boots right on top of your neck. It's terrible.
The only way to get a boot off my neck is to put my boot in their balls.
There you go.
Or if they're women, then just
Quit while you're ahead, buddy.
yeah. I tried to make it funny.
Quit while you're ahead.
I failed.
Failure.
Can't save them all, Hasselhoff.
Run.
Oh boy. So yeah, we talked about a bunch of stuff, talked about movies, games, and you were my guest on this. So
had a laugh, sang a song. It's all good.
We'll
have to do it in prime time. We'll get more viewers.
What I really like is a little song, a little dance, the Batman's head on lands.
Or some seltzer down your pants, either one.
Yeah. Never rub another man's rhubarb. But yeah, I think I'm going to call this stream quits now. 100 minutes is a good long run, and plus I got to get some food in me. So
Subway's calling.
And you can bet on that.
That wasn't